So let's talk about some mistakes that I've made since I moved to the UK so that you don't have to make the same mistakes as well. Mistake number one, because this is the top of my list anytime, any day, and it's the funniest because if you live in the UK, you know how funny this is. I stood at the bus stop expecting that the bus will just stop. That was a rhyme right there, but stay with me. Expecting that the bus will just stop for me without me flagging the bus. And that was very funny because there are two reasons buses stop typically. Either you flag the bus at the bus stop by stretching out your hand to indicate you are getting on the bus, or someone on the bus presses the bell to indicate that they are getting off at the next stop. But when I came to the UK, I just assumed that the buses stopped at every bus stop, or as long as they see me, they will stop. But the thing is, many buses stop at a particular bus stop. So nobody knows what bus you are waiting for anyway. So if you don't indicate, nobody will know. Bruh, I stayed there. Two buses passed me. And I was ranting to my sister. And then she goes, sorry, I think it was one bus. The bus I was actually waiting for to go to school. I think it was one bus. And I was ranting to my sister. And she's like, you didn't flag the bus. The bus will not just stop. And I'm like, oh, I felt so stupid. Don't make that mistake. The funny thing is, it has also happened to me the other way around where I was on the tram and I just assumed that the tram will stop at every stop because the truth is it had been stopping at every stop. So I just assumed, you know what, it will stop at the next stop. And I didn't need to press any bell or anything, but I learned the hard way. But yeah, that's not a mistake you should be making. Like top of the mistakes you should not make when you move to the UK is that one. You don't want to make that mistake. Mistake number two, I keep preaching the gospel of club cards. If you shop at places like Tesco, for example, they have a club card which is absolutely free. I don't even know what the idea of the club cards are, to be very honest. Somebody needs to tell me. Because what do they gain by getting people to get club cards? Because sometimes the price difference can be as much as £3 to £5. You are saving money. So why will I choose to buy something for £10 when I can buy it for £6? Do you understand? Like, just get a club card. An advantage card is student discount, whatever it is. Make sure you are getting the club cards. Boots has an advantage card because it costs you nothing, especially when it costs you nothing. Just get the cards because it saves you a lot of money. Mistake number three. Now, this one, I think this is a more serious mistake. So, I did a video about the different agencies that I had worked at when I was working part time jobs. Here's the downside to that. There were people that I did not even work with at all, ever. While there were people I worked maybe just once. But so because I wasn't working with them, in my head, I didn't need to, because typically when you're leaving a job and getting into a new job, they ask you for your P45, right? So that they can tax you right. The thing is, if it shows that you have multiple jobs, the tax is different from if you had just one job. Do you understand? And so because I didn't get P45 from all the agencies I was signed up with, it means that I had other employers aside my current employer, which meant that they were taxing me more than they should have. And that happened for 11 months. I didn't realize. So, first of all, even if I didn't realize, they do this thing every year at the end of the tax year where they like review and people end up getting refunds if they've been overtaxed. So I feel like even if I didn't realize it, maybe I would have been notified anyway. But it would have saved them taking all those extra tax from the beginning if I had known that I needed to get P45 and just ensure that my employer information was actually correct on the website. And so it was a random conversation with my friend where she says, oh, where does your tax? That's why you need to open yourself to information and have conversations, because she was the one that said your tax code should end with an L. If it doesn't end with an L, then it's wrong. And my tax code was not ending with an L. It wasn't ending with anything close. And so we actually did the research and found out that was the problem. And of course, calling HMRC is a different ballgame entirely. But anyway, I realized that they were taxing me more than they should have, and they ended up giving me the refund. So for 11 months, they are taking, even if it's £10 you take extra for 11 months, that's £110. That's not small money, my love. And they were not taking £10 extra. So you can imagine how much they are taking from me. But I'm like, you know what? It's a blessing in disguise. They helps me save the money. And that's about that. The next mistake is assuming that transport systems work the same way everywhere. For example, let's use the trams for example. In Birmingham, yes, because I've used the tram in Birmingham, in Manchester, in Sheffield, and in Nottingham. In Birmingham, and I think in Manchester as well, but I'm sure of Birmingham, you can buy your ticket on the tram. So when you see any of the operators or any of the staff, you can buy your tickets on the tram. But in Nottingham, at least when I live there, you cannot buy a ticket on the tram. So if you go there with that same mentality and then you get on the tram without a valid ticket, they will fine you. And nobody's going to hear please. Right? Nobody's going to hear please. So they will actually fine you. There are tickets booths on the tram platform in Nottingham, which is quite different from I don't know if I've seen a ticket booth in Birmingham. Maybe they have, but I don't know. But when I wanted to get on the tram for the first time, I kept on asking somebody, like different people. I'm like, can I buy? Because I was rushing, and if I'd looked for how to get a ticket, I don't know if they actually did sell a ticket on the platform. But if I looked for how to get a ticket, I would have been late. So I needed to get on the tram, and I'm like, okay, can I buy the ticket while I'm on the tram? And someone told me yes. I asked her like 3 times because I didn't want to be in trouble. I didn't want anybody to bill me. And the last but not the least is Google Maps. So Google Maps is good, is great. Shout out to them. But many times the timing is not correct. So you end up going to the bus stop at the time that the map says, and then you're wondering, okay, is the bus late or am I late? Has it passed already or should I wait for it? Because you actually do not know. And that, my loves, is very annoying. Very annoying. That was the first thing to frustrate me when I moved to Sheffield. I was so pissed off. So pissed off. Because every day I'm going to the bus stop, I'm like, okay, where's the bus? Is it coming or has it passed? And if you live in Sheffield, you should get the Travel Master app because you can track your bus live. Well, not track your bus live, but you can have a more accurate timing. If you're using buses like First Bus, for example, you can track your bus live if you have the First Bus app. But on Travel Master, even if you're not tracking the bus live, the timing is accurate for the buses. That I know. Even if Google Maps eventually shows you the correct time, they show you way after. It's quite late. If I was going to wait for them, by the time I find out the bus is coming in 2 minutes, I would still be home and I would have missed it. Did you get? So I just feel like if you work with Google Maps all the time and you want to trust them, you would be very disappointed because the timing isn't always accurate. But yeah, those are some of the mistakes that I made in the UK, and I don't want anyone else making as much as possible. Let me know if you've been in the UK, what you have, which of these you have experienced, and which one you have to share to people as well. Thank you for watching. Remember to like this video, share, and subscribe. Bye.